Then, the war came. I lost everything overnight. The last thing I remember is Father pushing me away, yelling for me to run, to live. At first, I didn't know what to do. Then, I remembered. A story my mother once told me. A story about my uncle, Jordan. He made a modest fortune up north, in a peaceful valley far away from the war. For weeks I held on to that thought, until the valley from my mother's stories. I could see it. This is where I can start a new life.
What is up, Hankiboy here, and today we are playing Medieval Dynasty. But before we start, I would really appreciate it if you take the time to subscribe, like this video, comment below and share. Also, do not forget to look in the pinned comment for a link to my Discord. And let's jump right into it and look at what went on during spring of my first year in Medieval Dynasty. So I made it to Gustovia, where I was meant to meet my uncle, and after snooping around for a bit in the small settlement, I went to speak with the man who seemed to be in charge, Unigast. We talked for what seemed like a very long time. He let me know my uncle died years ago and that all his land and real estate were already distributed amongst the villagers. He also told me that I could, if I so wished, build my own fortune from the surrounding land, which I figured was a good plan. And I was not going to waste any time, so I quickly gathered some materials around the settlement. After crafting myself a few rudimentary tools, I needed to gather some material to build the foundations of my future dynasty, a simple wattle house. I quickly got to it, chopping nearby trees for some logs, harvesting some reeds for straw, and picking up some sticks for the wattle walls. It took me most of the day to gather the required resources, and with nowhere to call home yet, I slept by a campfire just outside of Gustovia. I then woke up to a fresh and misty spring morning. With everything I needed on hand, I set out to look for a place to settle. After scouting all morning, I finally spotted what seemed to be the perfect spot, a nice open field next to a river and surrounded by forest. It was northeast of Gustovia, and it was a small trek back and forth to the village, which would be very convenient for trading goods in the future. I didn't lose any time building the framing for my new house, and with plenty of resources nearby, it was a breeze to finish the walls and the roofing. It took me most of the rest of the day to complete the building, but my house, although small and simple, was only the beginning of what would become a thriving settlement. Before resting, I had to secure the means to survive: food, water, and goods to trade at the village. So I built a rabbit trap a pulse distance from the house, built myself a spear and skinning knife, and ventured in the nearby woods to look for game to get some food, leather, and fur. I quickly spotted a wandering rabbit, but lacking any hunting experience, my first throw of the spear was a pathetic attempt. If I were aiming for the ground, I could have called it a success. By the time I recovered my spear, the rabbit was long gone, so I ventured deeper in the forest. I cautiously walked around for some time when I finally spotted a doe. My hunting skills had obviously not improved in the last couple hours, and I missed the doe, but barely, and this time I wasn't going to let it escape. I quickly catched up to the creature, and learning from my previous mistakes, I adjusted my aim and threw my spear at the doe. It went down instantly, a perfect throw through the neck. I recovered my spear, skinned the fine creature, packed the meat and leather, and quickly made my way back to the house before it was too dark. No one wants to be in the forest at night. I could barely stand on my 2 feet when I finally made it home, so I went straight to bed. After waking up, I went to check my rabbit trap, and I was pleased to see I had captured a fat brown rabbit. I collected the meat and leather and reset my trap. As I took a deep whiff of the surrounding air, I thought I smelled mushrooms, but it turned out to be me who reeked of mold and moisture. So I decided to build a washtub just outside the house to freshen up after a hard day of work. The first infrastructure I wanted for my settlement was a workshop, but I didn't know how to build such a structure or even where to start. So I decided to chop down trees and craft some wooded items to increase my knowledge of wood and try to figure out a way to build such a building. As I spent most of my day chopping down trees, crafting spears and thinking of the best ways to build a workshop with the resources I had, I finally figured out how I might be able to build the much needed infrastructure. I took the rest of the day to gather resources for the workshop. I chopped away until the sun came down. I hastily ate a chunk of roasted meat, then I headed home and laid down on my bed, thinking of what summer would be bringing tomorrow. And there you have it, guys. This is basically what happened to me in my first few hours of playing Medieval Dynasty. It is a fun and relaxing game if you're looking for a slow-paced, casual survival game set in the early medieval period. I absolutely recommend you give this game a try. And if you've enjoyed this video and would like to see more, I would really appreciate it if you took the time to subscribe, like this video, comment below and share. Also, do not forget to look in the pinned comment and description for a link to my Discord. This is it for today. I will see you in the next one.